Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole, Lore and Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So, after the big week-long Shilling campaign for Cyberpunk 2077, the release of the anime Edgerunners, and trying to convince the audience that Cyberpunk had been fixed and it was a big deal now that the game had recovered, the game has been quickly forgotten. Nobody talks about it. Nobody plays it. Nobody is going back to the game. It's over, right? There was like a brief surge of interest, but it has it has completely died down, and I don't think anyone is going to forget the game's initial launch. I don't think this is going to do anything to salvage CD Projekt Red or or their games or their fan base. I think all it's going to take for people to start hating them again is another mediocre release of a Witcher game. I think if they put out like a Witcher 4 that like shits on like what they did with the first three games or Witcher 3 in particular, I think that's going to alienate people even further, and we're going to be right back to where we started. Essentially, CD Projekt Red, due to like alienating all their talent and kind of going down this path of like wanting to become like the next big Western video game developer, the next BioWare, I think, is what I've been calling them. Like, CD Projekt Red really tried to do too much at once. And like trying to make a GTA clone and trying to make like a new IP and trying to do this and that, going back on things they said, like firing a bunch of people, like trying to expand, they essentially like collapsed their entire business model. And I don't think people are really aware that that's what happened. Is that like there is no possible way they're ever going to be able to like release a Witcher 4 and have it be as beloved and popular as The Witcher 3. It's already been like let's see, 7 years since The Witcher 3. People still enjoy The Witcher 3. Like people still play it, people still talk about it, but the story is essentially finished, from what I understand. That was kind of the talk going into Witcher 3 is that like there's nowhere really for the story to go. Like, are they really gonna like keep padding everything out and keep things going and keep things like relevant or things like that? Like essentially, I think Witcher 4 when it comes out, like it will be like Witcher 4. It'll look worse than 3. It'll have like way less content. It'll be like way less appealing to people. It'll be woke. It'll have all these problems, and like people won't be as invested in the Witcher property. I do expect the Witcher brand is going to fall off way off a cliff as these games continue getting released, because the books themselves are not very good. I can attest to that. People are turning on like the TV show. Like there's really nowhere for the series to go. Like fundamentally, they've essentially collapsed everything. Um, the games are like the primary reason the series became popular to begin with, and that was only because like people had nothing else to play. Like if Witcher 4 released like alongside Tears of the Kingdom, it would get like positively demolished. I think only like complete like dipshits like Angry Joe would try to say Witcher was better, and those people are becoming like more and more irrelevant every day. It's become they're a dying breed essentially. I don't see like if The Witcher takes like another 3 years to make, like it's possible we might see like another Zelda game get announced like after Tears of the Kingdom. So we might have like that issue of just like having like 3 or 4 Zelda games before like the next Witcher comes out. And then like it's going to be an underwhelming experience. And then of course like you have the issue of like, CD Projekt Red, like Cyberpunk itself like has not made a recovery in spite of like game journalist insistence that it has. It was a narrative pushed by like their paid shills to like try and like do a complete 180, try to get people to like do a complete 180 onto the property. But people like me, and other anons, 4chan was pretty good about this, like immediately caught on to the fact that that's what they were doing, like that it was a shill campaign. And that is something I think the community is like starting to pick up on, is that like, oh, if someone if there's an unprecedented group of people like infesting a community saying that like Cyberpunk is like good now, or like a product is being shilled, it's a campaign. It's not real. It's not organic. It's not authentic. And like Cyberpunk, they had like really really low quality shills, by the way, because towards the end you had people like straight up saying that like, oh no, it's totally organic. You can totally tell it's organic. Look at how many people are commenting on this thread. Like, it was so transparent, you know, it was so obvious. And I think I don't even think Edgerunners is going to be considered like the anime of the year, you know? Like I think Chainsaw Man is probably going to take it for most people. I don't see like anyone talking about like Edgerunners at all. Like the only people I see talking about Edgerunners are like some of the biggest shills in the industry. Like there's a YouTuber I'm that I don't follow, but his posts appear on my feed. Like when a YouTuber talks about like Edge Runners, I just assume they're promoting it. I don't assume they're an actual fan. I don't assume they actually watch anime. I don't assume they actually like know anything about it. I don't assume they have any standards because they don't. Like there is simply no justifying Edge Runners. You know, like I who watches an anime and then says that, oh, I'm gonna play the terrible video game that it was based off of. Like, no, nobody does that. That's not an organic thing. That's not a thing that actually happens. Cyberpunk was a complete joke, and I'm glad it failed. I'm glad like people kind of picked up on the fact that like Edge Runners was like one of the like a big like last hurrah kind of thing. But now it's like a matter of like, well, where do we go from here? Like, how far is CD Projekt Red going to fall before it's like considered obvious to everyone that they become completely irrelevant and obsolete? To me personally, it's kind of obvious that like we're already at that point. And like I'm just curious to know when that is going to be the mainstream consensus. CD Projekt Red was never relevant, but soon they will lose every single one of their fans.